Today, we're going to be giving you a global perspective of the market. We're going to be thinking about, if and when certain scenarios take place, how can we prepare best for what's about to come? And then we're also going to be looking at our more local trades for the rest of the week. So let's take a look at the market. Let's start all the way, at our monthly level. So on our monthly, you can see that Bitcoin has printed a high, a low. It's reached that high, and then it's transitioned from bullish to bearish market structure. There's broken structure here, okay? And we expected for a very long time, and we were going to get what's expected, what's more probable after a bearish break in market structure, a retracement. We were looking for that retracement to take place anywhere up here, but that hasn't quite occurred. So what's happened is Bitcoin has gone all the way to the high, and it looks as though it is very keen to break that high. So we're going to get rid of this. We don't need that. To break that high, okay? We can see here that this is a very strong move up. What we call this bull trend bars, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 bull trend bars in a row. We have a doji, which is essentially a trading range, and then we have 5, and we look to be printing our 6th bullish bar. And if you include the doji, I guess it's bullish in nature, it will be 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. On the monthly, we look to be closing above our prior high. So we look to be breaking on the monthly. Of course, we've still got some time before that monthly candle is confirmed. So that's definitely something to watch out for. What we see here is a very bullish reaction from Bitcoin. Fairly similar to what we had in 2020. What we know, post that bullish rally up, we had a retracement, and then we flushed down to the beginning of the bear market. So we have to, look at our charts with, neutrality, and make sure we're not biased when it comes to looking at these charts. So this is what the monthly looks like. So on the monthly, in the case that we do close above this level, so if we draw out our level here, in the case we do close above about $69,000, what would we expect? Well, it's simple. We would be looking to have a continuation play where we go up perhaps to about $80,000. A retracement. Now that retracement could take place in numerous places. So we're going to look at where it's probable for it to take place shortly. It could take place at the old range high, so we could get a retracement over there. We could get a retracement that comes back and takes place at this old range. There is, if you look internally, there is 100%, a demand range over there, okay? And that's another magnetic area for Bitcoin. But also, there is a chance that that retracement also comes down all the way down here, okay, to this level. Now, these 3 scenarios are feasible, okay? And it's worth paying attention, because what will happen in the Bitcoin world is, as soon as we do get that retracement, so many people are going to be calling, oh my goodness, this is going to be a crazy bear run. We were all wrong. The bull run hasn't begun. The halving, blah, 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 all the news out there. But you need to pay attention that even in the case we get scenario number 1, scenario number 2, or scenario number 3, we are still in a monthly uptrend. That's assuming we break and close above that 69,000 level on the monthly. All right, so that's what we have. That's what we have for the monthly. Now let's go down a notch. If we look at the weekly, well, our weekly structure looks as follows. We've printed a series of higher highs and high lows, for a very long time now. Okay, and this is what our weekly structure looks like. So on our weekly structure, in order to go bearish, we are looking to get a change in market structure at this level. So this level needs to go. That's what level is that? That's coming at 38,000, about 38,000. That needs to go in order for us to transition, okay? So we can call this our weekly level. Let's call it weekly level. All right, so we shouldn't really be looking, for a change in market sentiment until perhaps that goes. But to get more specific, let's look at the daily. So in terms of our daily, we're going to get more defined market structure. So if we analyze this decisional leg, so on our daily structure, we look something like this. So we're going to do that in a different color in a second. Okay, and that daily, well, our daily level is coming at around, about $49,000. Okay, so that's a daily level we're looking at in order to see, whether that transition in market structure has begun. So we're going to put that in a different color. Perhaps we can have that in green. Okay. Now none of this is going to take place until the 4-hour change is bearish. Now for the 4-hour to go bearish, what do we need to see? Well, let's analyze that. Let's analyze that daily leg. For the 4-hour to go bearish, our 4-hour structure looks something like this. Well, this is a rough estimate, by the way. Okay. Yep. So if we go up there, I'm just checking to see whether my condition for drawing our structure is fulfilled. So this would be an inside. Yep, so on a 4-hour, we don't quite get, distinct market structure until about this level. Okay, so on the 4-hour, we're looking for the 59,000 level to go. Okay, so this is a 4-hour, so we're going to say this is a 4-hour level. Okay, so that's what Bitcoin looks like at the minute. So we are going to make this, let's make this purple. Okay, so what we can see is that we are in this tear up, we are in this clear uptrend. All right, but it is worth noting that as we look at these legs, what's the nature of the leg? Is it decreasing in amplitude as we go up? Is it decreasing or increasing in amplitude as we go up? Okay, so if we look at our structure in green, we can see now this move up was a 17% move up. This move up over here was a massive one, absolutely massive, about 37% move up. Okay, so these are quite, aggressive rallies up. Now let's consider, I understand this does look a bit messy at the minute, but bear with me, we can get rid of this for now. Okay, so let's consider the purple. So if we look at our purple, this move up, if we go to the 4-hour to analyze that, we can see in our purple, just to gauge how the market is moving, and to predict when we could potentially get that reversal. All right, so let's have a look. So if we measure from our last high to the peak, we've got again 17%. And if we measure again here, well, this isn't confirmed yet, we could continue up. But as of now, we would have had, about a 7%. So they're way more than half. Okay. Now, in the case that we do get that 4-hour amplitude increasingly decreasing and decreasing and decreasing, that's a sign. That's a sign that high is in and that retracement is about to take place. All right. But we'll need to see market structure develop a bit further before we can do that. So in summary, we're waiting for the 4-hour to break first before we consider any sort of bearish sentiment. Now, in terms of what's happening on a global scale, what can Bitcoin actually do? What is the bearish scenario, essentially? Well, the bearish scenario is as follows. In the case we consider this entire move to be a range, this to be a range break, there is a chance that we have a manipulation phase over here. And that takes us to about £80,000, okay? About a manipulation phase over here. Now I'm going to change that to purple. Now if that's the case, we get a manipulation over here. That could bring us all the way back down for our expansion, okay? Now this is what's known as the PO3, okay? PO3. So feel free to research that just to get more information of how that works. So until we break this level, all right, there is a chance that we still get that rotation all the way down. So just be cautious, all right? So now what's taking place on a local level? Now on a local level, let's go to the 1 hour. Let's go to the 1 hour and let's see what Bitcoin has in store for us. All right, so this looks messy at the moment. Give me a minute, let me just tidy this up. Okay, so if we look at the 1 hour, if we look at our structure, we're in this clear up trend. We have higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, all right? And initially we had this prior range. Initially we had this range. We broke out of that range, okay? And then we broke out into a new range, a bigger range, okay? And now we broke out of that range and we're currently in another range over here, okay? We're in another range, which we've just obviously capitalized from. Now we are looking to break out of that range as well. But if we consider the final range that we are in at the minute, okay, we have our range high, our range low. We have all these internal levels where we're looking for trades, all right? But Bitcoin does seem, even though it seems to have broken out of this range on the 24-minute, it seems to have broken out of this range on the 15-minute and everything below that, If you look on the 2 hour, we don't quite have a break out of this range. So as we can see on the 2 hour, we have a wick, okay? So if we zoom into that, we can see that we haven't closed above that range level. We ripped it. Now this does suggest that the probability of having a rotation has increased as a result of that. The probability of getting a rotation down is higher. Now in the case that we had a clear break above that level, that wouldn't be the case, okay? So again, it's worth at this level just being aware. Now this may not be what transpires, but you just have to be aware that we could accumulate here slightly for a while, yeah, or manipulation, whatever you want to call it, and then we could plummet down, okay? Now in the case that happens, you need to be looking for your range confirmations up here because this will be a range in itself, all right? And we're going to take a look in a second how that range might look like, all right? But what are our local trades? What are we looking out for? Well, let's talk about the bullish scenario first. Well, we are in an uptrend, a clear uptrend. We've been in an uptrend for quite some while. We've had a few ranges every now and then. But we are in this uptrend, and when you're in an uptrend, you should be looking for longs, okay? So where are these longs going to take place? Well, as for this range I'm in, I'm looking for my next levels to be my old range high, confluent with my value area high, all right? Now this is using the fixed range tool. I'm also looking at this internal, POC level, all right? If we go on a lower time frame, let's take a look at the 24-minute. It's a bit clearer. We can see that we had, okay, it's not that clear on that one. Yes, we can go a bit lower. On a 10-minute, yeah, we can see that we have this internal demand here, this, consolidation here before we had that burst up. Now that is an area of interest to me. That tells me that's a level in which, the big volume players stepped into the market. So that is most likely a level where it will act as a magnet and price will come back to, okay? So that's an area of interest for me, and it so happens to be confluent with POC, which means lots and lots of volume were traded in that region. Now again, on the 1 hour, we have a 1 hour demand below that, okay? Now in the case that Bitcoin reverses from this level that we're currently in the case it does this, we could get a reaction there. In the case it does this, we could get a reaction there. And in the case it does that, we could get a reaction there. Now, if Bitcoin starts to approach this level, be cautious. Be cautious. Why did I say be cautious? Because as soon as we have been accepted back into this, value area high, the probability of rotating all the way down to the value area low is higher. So VAL. Sorry, this is messy as hell. All right, let's get rid of this. We'll use this instead. Okay, so we've got the value area, not that. So we've got a value of VAH, a value area high. We've got a POC, and then we've got our value area low. What do we know about value areas? If we get accepted back into this region and we get past the POC as well, be careful with this, because there is a chance you simply rotate all the way down to the value area low, okay? Now we also have this demand over here, this 24-minute demand that was left from the wick, that crazy wick that we had earlier yesterday. So just be cautious of those levels. Remember, for each and every one of these levels, we are not limit ordering it. We are waiting for clear confirmations. We're waiting for market structure to go from printing lower lows and lower highs to higher lows and higher highs. Okay, so that's the bullish scenario. As for the bearish scenario, well, the bearish scenario relies on Bitcoin manipulating here for a while. So you could consider this, if we go on the 5 minutes perhaps. Bear with, my internet isn't the best at the moment. Okay, so we could consider this as a range. Okay, we could consider this as a range in itself. Then we've got a range high and a range low. We're going to change that. Let's put range 1. We'll give it a while to... Okay, cool. So we've got our range high, our range low. Okay. Now in the case that Bitcoin manipulates in this region, I would be looking for that range high to be taken. So in the case we get a deflection of the range high here, I will be looking to enter a short from that range high. All right. So my trade will look like this. So short from that range high, you know, in terms of a sweep, and then my long trades, would be, you know, from each and every one of these levels. Now, yes, the risk to reward on these, it's not looking great at the moment. The stop loss, the zone is looking massive, but remember, we're waiting to see market confirmations in each and every one of these levels. Okay, so that's it. That's what my trading plan is in the immediate term, and I will look to see whether I have clear market confirmations. If you're using Market Cipher, you know, look to use that as well. If you're using RSI, EMA, you know, make sure you're getting your confirmations before you enter any trade. All right, well, there we have it. That's the breakdown, and I will see you tomorrow.